Hi guys, in this video we'll discuss what is a personal statement, how you can write one, and in what ways you can avoid the common mistakes that people make while writing personal statements. Alright, so what is a personal statement? A personal statement is a narrative rationalizing your motivations to pursue a certain program at a certain university. What I mean by rationalizing motivations is that you're not just telling us why you're interested in the university or the program, but you're also providing evidence in support of those reasons. In short, you're not just saying that I like this university or I like this program for this reason. You're also helping us understand how you have built that skill of recognizing why those particular features are attractive to you. The particular features that you have identified within the university and the program that make this investment of time and money worthwhile for you. Right, let's begin with the most common mistakes that people make when they write personal statements, whether for a job as part of a job application or a master's application. The first and the most common type of mistake is to praise the institute or the university or the organization. In short, you end up telling the organization or the university what they already know. You end up telling them the awards they've recently won, the satisfaction surveys, and other things which may or may not be relevant to why you are interested in them, right? Because let's say you've chosen that university because you admire or you would like to learn from certain professors or the faculty members in that university. You're interested in a university or an organization because of their work ethic, their values and actions. But even in this case, when you're specifying what you like about a particular university or organization, you have to take it a step further. You have to give us details, or you have to provide us a detail of events and experiences from your own life which tell us how you've developed this skill of judging which attributes are important for your decision. The second most common mistake students make while writing personal statements is to simply describe their skills and experience without linking them back to either the course requirements, to what they understand of the demands of the coursework in the program that they're interested in, or what do they understand about the job that they're applying for in case the personal statement is for a job. The thing to do here is to first make a list of relevant skills on an Excel sheet, and in the second column you can talk about which specific events and experiences helped you to get those skills or develop those skills, and in the third column you can write which employers or which experiences or events those actions belong to. But make sure that the first column, which is the list of skills essential for that program, has been created after a deep assessment of the course and admissions requirements. A key thing to remember here is that the first column, in which you populate a list of skills which are required for that program, has been made by a critical assessment of the course requirements, or in case it's a job, the job requirements. The third most common type of mistake students make in writing personal statements is when they just state that they're interested in a particular subject or a topic, and they don't give us any evidence in support of how in their life that interest has manifested. Maybe they've attended a series of seminars, maybe they took a preferred elective, maybe they took multiple internships within the same field. And also, students tend to describe areas of study in a very broad sense. So you get things like, okay, I'm interested in finance and that's why I'm applying for a finance MSc. So instead of that, if you can tell us what within the huge world of finance you're interested in, and what specific modules within the MSc Finance program at, let's say, LSE or CAS Business School give you in terms of the modules that they offer, in terms of the knowledge gap that you're trying to fill. That will go a very long way for your application, and not merely stating that you're interested in finance, because it's obvious that the hundreds or thousands of applicants that are applying for an MSc in finance are at least interested in finance. Okay, so after looking at the three most common pitfalls to avoid when writing personal statements, we can now discuss a few approaches on how to go about constructing this narrative. In terms of the structure of a personal statement, some of the elements that you need to include are an introduction, but not in the sense of introducing the field of study to people who already know, but the introduction means that you're laying down your intention for writing this narrative or this statement. And after this introductory paragraph, the rest of the 3 or 4 paragraphs will describe your motivations for applying to that university, for applying for that specific course or program. It will tell us why do you want to be in that particular field or business function. I think it is also essential that you tell us about your career goals and what knowledge or skill gap you're trying to fill through this MSc. So usually you take a master's program to acquire additional skills or knowledge that you think will be applicable in the line of work that you're interested in. So for that, you first need to state what are, if not one specific area, it could be 3 or 4 different areas, but you then give us your motivations for pursuing either of those areas and how they're interrelated, and then tell us why your BSc program and your current level of professional experience was not enough to propel you towards the career that you want, and how the MSc in that particular subject from that particular university is going to fill the knowledge or the skill gap and propel you towards the career that you want. Okay, so in the introduction, you will state your intention, which is that you're excited to apply, or that you're applying for an MSc in a particular university because you believe that this is the most logical next step for your career, given that your career goal is the following. And this gives you a very solid start, because then you know that in the rest of the personal statement you can simply put together different motivations and evidence in support of this introductory statement, or this opening statement. After writing the introductory paragraph in which you're laying down your intention for writing this personal statement or narrative, the next paragraph could either be why you are interested in applying for this particular university, or why you're applying for this particular program, because oftentimes universities will offer different variations of the same program, and they will have different kinds of modules. They would cover different kinds of specializations. So you need to make a case for your interest in that particular specialization. Further, you could also be talking about why do you want to be in that particular field of study or area of study. So the answer to that question is what kind of proclivities or inclinations you've discovered during the course of your career, from your GCSEs or A levels or international baccalaureate, to your undergraduate study, to the placement year, to the internships. How did you discover competencies and inclinations, and how do these different competencies come together to push you towards this particular industry or field of study? And another part of your personal statement needs to cover why do you need to pursue the MSc now. So why do you think it is the right time in your career for you to apply and gain knowledge and experience that comes bundled with this master's program. In order to tackle this paragraph, you first need to take a rough sheet of paper and make a true assessment of where you are in terms of your skill level and in terms of your knowledge, your technical skills and soft skills both, and what additional skills and knowledge do you need, specific skills. They could be, let's say, learning a software program or learning a way of analyzing information, a different method altogether. So you could be a finance person and you're now interested in data analytics because that's the kind of job that you want to get into. It will really pay off if you take this rough sheet of paper, you draw a line graph on it. On 0 you write 2018 or whichever year you're currently in. You add 5 pegs forward and 5 pegs back, and you figure out 5 years down the line where do I want to be, what kind of job and what kind of role I want to be in, and you assess the knowledge gap between where you want to be and where you are now, and how the master's program is going to help you bridge this gap. Another thing that this line graph will help you determine is what kind of choices you've already made in your career that are propelling you now towards this master's program. So if you go back 5 years and look at what decisions you took while you were selecting your high school electives or A-level electives and your undergraduate study electives or your internships, all those choices can become evidence for describing your motivations. Before I end the video, I'd like to recap what we've discussed. So we've discussed the pitfalls or the common mistakes students make when writing personal statements. The first mistake is to praise the organization of the university. The second mistake is to describe your skills and experiences without linking them back to the course requirements or the job requirements. And the third most common mistake is when students just simply state that they're interested in that university or program or field of study without helping us understand the source of that interest. So essentially, where are you coming from? Further, we've also discussed how to approach writing a personal statement, which is that you begin with an introduction paragraph in which, instead of introducing the field of study, you are laying down your intentions of what you want to achieve through this personal statement or narrative, which is that you are interested in applying for a master's program from that university because you believe that this is the most logical next step for your career. The next 3 or 4 paragraphs are spent in describing your motivations to be part of that university, your motivation for applying for that specific program, your motivation to be in that specific field of study, and why now. Why does it make sense for you to pursue this master's program now? And of course, then you end by saying that yes, you're now confident that you've been able to showcase your interest and motivations and reasons behind those motivations in your pursuit of this field of study or master's program. The last thing that we discussed about personal statements were the tools that you can use to figure out the content of your personal statement. One of the tools is a true assessment of the skills, the required skills that have been described either in the job description or in the course requirements, because those are the skills that you'll have to link to your own skills, experiences, competencies and inclinations. And that's the only way this will become very specific and make sense. The second tool that you can use is the line graph, on which you plot your career timeline and you figure out 5 years from now where you want to go and see where you are now and figure out what knowledge gap the master's program is going to fill. And also looking 5 years back, you figure out where you were and what choices you made and what experience you had that propelled you towards this field of study, and this will form an evidence in support of your motivations. Don't go about thinking that this exercise will give you the final draft. Writing personal statements is a long process. It usually takes 3 or 4 drafts to get it right. In the first draft, you'll be very general and vague. Don't worry about it. Keep writing. Then, from that general thing, go to the more specific thing, and then keep replacing vague or general statements with specific examples from your career, and it'll all work out. And that's it. I hope this video helps you to write good personal statements. If you have any further questions, just plonk them in the comments section, and I'll do my best to respond to those questions. And thanks for watching.